What is up, YouTube? This is Sam, Team Sam here, and today, guys, welcome to my first deck analysis. And as you guys can see, today's deck analysis is going to be me talking to you guys about a deck called Mermails and why I think this deck is one of the greatest deck one of the greatest deck in this format, and why I think it's the best deck in my opinion. And the side deck card you guys can use against this deck, and yeah, so let me just talk to you guys about the deck. So let's get started. So and by the way, guys, this is not a deck profile. So yeah, so in Mermails they play Abyss Megalo, Abyss Lind, Abyss Gunday, Abyss TS, Abyss Spike, Abyss Lead, Deep Sea Diva, Atlantean Dragoons, Atlantean Infantry, Atlantean Heavy Infantry, and Atlantean Marksman. And for the Traps card, they play, of course, Abyss Spear and Abyss Squall. So let's go. Now I'm just gonna go talk to you guys in depth on some of the cards in the deck. So let's start off with Dragoons. Honestly, Dragoons, I honestly thought that card should get hit during the March 2013 ban list, but it didn't. It's still at 3. This card is basically the Stratosphere deck. It has the ability to search up any Sea Serpent monster in your deck. It can search up from level 2, Deep Sea Diva, to Marksman, to Abyss Megalo, Abyss Lead, and to Abyss TS. So this card is great. So basically, if it's sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster effect, it just gets the effect to search a Sea Serpent, any Sea Serpent in your deck. And for, let's say you have Abyss Dweller, you have Atlantean Dragoons as a material to Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller is activating the effect to send XYZ material from itself to the graveyard to activate its effect. And if Abyss Dweller sends Dragoon to grave, Dragoons will get its effect to search a Sea Serpent, since it was sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster effect, and Abyss Dweller is a water monster. So this is why I think Dragoons is the best card in the deck. You're basically playing triple Stratos in the deck, so that's why Dragoon is a major threat this format, because it's the ability to search. Next, let's talk about Abyss Megalo. Abyss Megalo is that you can discard 2 water monsters to your graveyard to special summon this card, and then when you do, you get to search one Abyss Spell or Trap card from your deck, and you add that card and you add it to your hand. So you can search up Abyss Spear or Abyss Squall. So it's basically a searcher. You get to search your Trap card, Abyss Spear, and its second effect is that you contribute 1 face-up attack position water monster. This card can basically attack twice during this turn. So basically like a blade armor ninja. Yeah, and next let's talk about Abyss Lind. Why I think this card is great is that when it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you get to special summon any Mermail from your deck. So let's say you special summon Spike, and Spike effect is that when this card is normal summon or special summon, and it gets the effect. So if special summon by Lind's effect, Abyss Spike will get the effect to discard 1 water monster to the graveyard to search up one level 3 water monster from your deck to your hand. So basically, if you summon Spike, you get to discard either any water monsters, but the main water monsters you're trying to aim to discard for is like Gunday, Dragoons, Infantry, or Marksman to get this effect. So let's say if Abyss Spike discarded Marksman to the graveyard, Marksman will get its effect to pop a face down card. So that's why Marksman is great. And then Abyss Spike will get to search level 3 like Gunday, Abyss Lind, Marksman, stuff like that. And yeah, so if you like it depends on what you discard to get its effect. So if you discard Infantry, you get to pop like basically a monster. If you discard a Gunday, you get to basically special summon a Mermail from your grave, stuff like that. Crazy combos. Next let's talk about Gunday real quick. Is that Gunday was introduced in Abyss Rising. This card was basically introduced in the mono Mermail build by Billy Break. So this card is a great card. People are starting to run 2 copies of Abyss Gunday now, because it's such a great card. Is that if this card is discarded to the graveyard, special summon any Mermail monster from your graveyard. It can be level 7 like Abyss Lead, Abyss Megalo, or Abyss TS, or it can be even Abyss Lind, stuff like that. So that's why Abyss Gunday is amazing. It can special summon Abyss Spike, and when Abyss Spike special summon, it still gets the effect to discard a water monster and gets the search. So that's why Abyss Gunday is great. Next, we just talk about Abyss TS. This card is great. It's 2400 wall. You can discard 1 water monster to special summon this card, and then it gets to search level 4 or lower Mermail monster. So it's basically like a spike for level 4 lore. It's level 4 lore. Yeah, so that's why Abyss Theus is great, and it's also a level 7. Next we got Abyss Lead. Mermail Abyss Megalos' bigger brother. Is that you can discard 3 water monster, and then you can add a spawn trap from your graveyard, like Abyss Spear or Abyss Wall, from your graveyard to your hand, and then you can discard one face-up attack position mermail monster to discard 1 random card from your opponent's hand. So that's why this card is good. It's great with Gunday, because if this card is in the graveyard and you discard Gunday, you basically special summon 2700 attack beater for free. So that's why I think Abyss Lead is such a great card. So basically the whole deck is that it relies on discarding water monsters, like discarding Dragoons, discarding Infantry, discarding Marksman, discarding Gunday to get their special effects off. So that's why this deck is great. This deck is great for clearing up fields. Like for example, when Megalo discards Marksman and Infantry, it gets to pop. Infantry gets to pop a monster, and Marksman gets to pop a spawn trap because it was discarded to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect. So that's why I think it's great. That's why this is why I think this deck is great, because it can easily clear up the board on the field. So yeah. And next we got Deep Sea Diva. This card is like your tour guide of the deck. Diva can be easily searchable by Atlantean Dragoons, and Diva gives easier access to level 5 XYZ such as Catastor and Liberian, stuff like that. And it also gives you easier access to rank 2 XYZs such as Gachi Gachi and Gusto Phoenix, stuff like that. And Diva is also a tuner, so it can be synchroed with let's see. It can be synchro with Diva can be synchro with Infantry and Marksman to bring out Gungnir, which is one of the best card in the extra deck. Is that they can discard a water monster to basically destroy it. They can just basically discard up to 2 cards on to the graveyard, and then destroy the same amount of cards on the field. So basically, if they discard 2 cards, if they basically discard 2 cards, so let's say they discarded Marksman and Infantry, they get to pop 2 cards of Gungnir's effect, and then these 2 Marksman and Infantry will activate. So they're basically getting to pop 4 cards on the field. That's why Gungnir is broken. So, I have a feeling this deck is gonna get Gungnir banned. I just have a feeling, because Gungnir is so broken. Yeah. So let's see what other cards I've talked about. So that's why I think this deck is broken, you know. Yeah, so let's go off to the extra deck. We got Abyss YuGiOh, Big Eye, Phoenix, Gachi, Dweller, Mermails, Cowboy, Leviathan, and all these synchros. But the main one I'm here to talk about is Abyss YuGiOh. Is that this card is basically a skill drain on legs, and a 5 or higher, level 5 or higher monsters cannot attack. While this card has XYZ materials on this card. So Abyss YuGiOh just locks decks like 6 Samurais down, because Shin, Beast, Barkion, cards like those cannot attack, and their effect will be negated because their attack is lower than Abyss YuGiOh. So basically, this card is a skill drain for monsters with 2800 or less attack. Basically, that's why Abyss YuGiOh is great. It's just like the skill drain on legs, and it's also preventing your level 5 or higher monsters cannot attack. And next, we got Big Eye. They have easier access to Big Eye, since they basically play 7 level 7s. Yeah, then this can be easily go into by Deep Sea Diva, because yeah, Deep Sea Diva bringing out Infantry, or bringing out another Diva overlay for the Gusto Phoenix. So yeah, Abyss Dweller, Mermail, stuff like that. So, but the main extra deck card is Abyss YuGiOh. That card is amazing. So next, let's talk about the side deck card you guys can use against this deck. First of all, we got Macrocosmos and D-Fissure. All their cards activate in graveyard. So instead of sending it to the graveyard, what do? Banish them. So side Macrocosmos and Dimension Fissure, they can't even get their effect in grave, because they're not going to grave. They're being banished to the underworld. Yeah. And Megalo can't even summon itself, because you have to discard 2 water monster to the graveyard. So they can't even summon Megalo. They can't even summon the Abyss Theus. They can't even summon the Abyss Lead. They can't even activate Gunday. Stuff like that. They can't even activate Dragoons or Marksmen or Infantry. Stuff like that. They can't even activate Lin, for the most important part. So yeah, that's why Macrocosmos and Dimensional Fissure is probably their weakest card. That's why Macro Rabbit is their worst matchup, because Macro Rabbit's main macro. Next we got Soul Drain. Serves at the same purpose as Macro and Dimensional Fissure, stopping the graveyard effects. But this card is great for decks that can't use Dimensional Fissure or macros. So that's why Soul Drain is great for decks that can't use Macro or Dimensional Fissure. Next we got Mind Crush. As you guys all know it, Abyss Megalo has to reveal itself before special summoning it. So you can Mind Crush the Megalo and the Megalo will go to grave. So yeah. Next we got Maxi. Maxi is chainable to Lin and Abyss Sphere, and it's also chainable to Abyss Megalo because it has to reveal itself first. Next we got Abyss Dweller. The card is self-explanatory. Just stop their monster effects in grave. Next we got Bottomless Trap Hole. It's great against Abyss Megalo and Abyss Lin and Abyss TS as well. Next we got MST. This card is great during the end phase because sometimes that end phase MST can really hurt the Mermail players by hitting their Abyss Sphere, because sometimes Mermail players will have like a bad hand and they're relying on the Abyss Sphere to go off to summon Lin, then summon Spike, and Spike will get the search, and so on and so on. So that MST can hurt them, and Dimensional Fission can hurt their Lin if they attack. If some Mermail players are bad, they'll just want to be greedy and attack you. You can just Dimensional Fission their Lin. Yeah guys, so let's wrap this up. So why I think this deck is a great deck. First of all, they're all level 7s. They play level 7 level 7s. Which mean they can easily go into a quicker access to Abyss Giles and Big Eye as well. Abyss Megalo clears up the field by discarding Marksman and Infantry, and if they discard Dragoon, they get to search. Dragoon is probably the main engine of the deck. The card is amazing. Lin, when it goes to grave, destroys Central Graveyard, gets special summon a Mermail from their deck, directly from their deck. That's why I think Lin is great. Same thing with Gunday. If it's discarded and sent to the graveyard, bang, get to special summon any Mermail from their graveyard. That's why I think this deck is great. This deck locks your opponent down with Abyss Giles, and it can go a Big Eye, which robs your opponent monsters, and Abyss Squall as well. This card's purpose is to go into XYZ plays. Yeah, so especially summon 3 Mermails, then you go into XYZ plays like Giles or Big Eye. So yeah guys, I hope you guys enjoyed my deck analysis. I'm sorry if this video was too long. Thank you guys for watching, and please guys tell me what you think about this segment, my deck analysis, and I'm gonna be posting more content soon. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please guys subscribe. That will help me a lot. Team Sam signing out, and please don't forget this video a thumbs up. Peace.